This is Unrendered, and I'm chatting with Dr. Thompson, Tony Myers, and Dr. Stoddard. Dr. Thompson, I left off with you talking about your policy document. So if you can just quickly take me through that.
Well, we are very proud of this, and this more or less guides us with respect to how we are going to achieve our approach to sustainable energy and renewable energy. In terms of energy efficiency.
Right.
I would have liked to have also shown you a document where we conducted a comprehensive energy efficiency study of the entire public sector, matter of fact, over 70 government buildings. And out of that, we've been able to derive a number of programs, very important programs, to address the whole issue of energy efficiency. But in terms of the energy policy, what it does, it gives a clear message to individuals that, say, Vincent is going to take a very aggressive approach to addressing these issues of energy, and that we're also open for private individuals to set up their own methods of producing energy, and that we are also open for investment in the energy sector. Clearly, from a policy point of view, we are not going to be taking the approach like many of the other islands with respect to privatization and so as yet. But we are now open for attracting independent power producers who will be able to sell into the grid, and we will have VILNEC as the main distributor of electricity as well as a major producer.
Right.
Now, what the strategy and action plan also does, and I must say this, because we're talking predominantly about renewable energy, but we must also address the impact of petroleum as a very important commodity. I remember it wasn't until I went to Washington, matter of fact, I went to Washington with Tonley to WIRIC, and I learned a lot there, because prior to that I was a hawk, you could say, with respect to looking at things strictly from a standpoint of renewable energy. But I soon found out that you have to be able to integrate any form of renewable energy into the existing grid. And I was invited by Tony to attend a number of important lectures that actually was able to teach me that at this current stage in our development, the getting diesel and how you get it is very important. And that brings me to what we know as the Petro-Carib Agreement. And I think that coming out of this discussion, even though we talk about renewable energy, the Petro-Carib Agreement is probably one of those stories that have not been told as well as it should, because I think that it has had a tremendous impact on our own.
So in the interest of time, because Petro-Carib can be a whole discussion, you're basically saying that you're sourcing existing fossil fuel in a clever way that that the government can afford. This is what I'm gathering from the Petro-Carib Agreement.
And we are doing this as we're doing this as we are looking to develop the various projects to look at alternatives, such as engaging in renewable energy.
Let me just ask Dr. Stoddard this, and you're looking at it from a regional perspective. What are the barriers, really? You talk about sustainable energy, and sustainable energy, I suspect, it's going to be coming from various sources. What are the barriers to us developing, the whole idea of sustainable energy, actually implementing these sources, and the end consumer can start to see the benefits of it? Is it just like a talk shop now? And what are the barriers in actually moving this ahead?
Okay, First of all, let me define what sustainable energy is. Sustainable energy has to do with the ability or of a resource, a particular resource of energy, to be sustained over time without disruptions.
Right.
Even though you have disruptions, which will be common, there must be backup systems in place so that you will not be at a disadvantage when you have those disruptions. So it's energy on a continuous basis without compromising it with a third party.
Right.
You talk about the barriers of towards sustainability, but there are some factors about sustainability which we need to understand. For energy to be sustainable, it must be affordable. People must be able to buy energy or pay for the cost of energy. If you can't pay for the cost of energy, it's not sustainable.
Correct.
So then we have an issue of price. Then we have, it must be accessible. A couple of years ago, we had about 70% penetration of electricity in St. Vincent. I don't know the number today, might be close to 100%. In a country like Guyana, just a very small fraction of the people have energy. The hinterland communities do not have energy. They do not have access to energy. And therefore there's no sustainability there.
Yeah.
It must be reliable. Energy that is reliable, it means when you turn on the switch you can get the electricity to use, you can have power to power your refrigerator or whatever. And unless we can address these factors, we cannot say for sure that we have sustainability. We also must make sure of the source from which the energy comes. If our dependency on energy comes from a source, say solar photovoltaic,
Yes.
what happens when there's no sun? Or if it's wind, what happens when the wind does not blow?
Yes.
So what we're promoting is a hybrid system where if the source from which the energy comes is questionable, is not reliable, you need to now broaden the scope so that you can have other intervention to bring that sustainability to the public.
So clearly that's going to vary from country to country. I mean, St. Vincent's, geography of St. Vincent will determine what are sustainable sources. Say to St. Kitts, for example, we may have hydro as a point, and hydro may be something that you can sustain in certain areas of Dominica, St. Vincent, but not Antigua. You know, so it will vary from country to country. So are you at the CARICOM level doing a one-size-fit-all, or are you customizing your approach as it varies from island to
What
island?
we are saying to countries is just simply this.
Yes.
Look at your energy source in terms of sustainability. And I like to use an example. Most of us, we get our energy from, we get some from Venezuela, but many years ago we got it from the Middle East. And those countries are always in conflict with one another, and sometimes conflict with third world countries. What if there's a conflict and they decided to shut off the pipeline from us?
Right.
The example of what happened in Ukraine, just a few short years ago, about 2 years ago, when Russia decided that Ukraine was not behaving well. They had a conflict with Ukraine, and they cut off the source of energy.
Right.
And many people went for months without heating.
Yes.
Because their sustainability was in question. They depended on one source of energy.
So
So what I'm saying to you is that we ought to have a system where we diversify the energy mix and involve renewable energy sources to complement what we have in fossil fuel-based energy.
That's fair enough. I mean, Tony, let me bring you in here. Doctor brought up the issue of affordability. And we've seen the basis on which we generate energy now from fuels. We've seen what's happened, the trend of the prices there. In a year, the price of crude oil has almost doubled. I think I see that from some information I've seen, right? And that's a disturbing trend. It has started to dip again, but who knows, okay? Where you sit on the renewable sources or the alternative sources of energy that can offset the price of our existing source, what are the prospects there? Is it looking good from what you have seen? Are we moving to something within the near future that consumers can expect to see by the use of the alternatives a reduction in price so that it can be sustained, according to Dr. Stoddard?
Tony, when we talk about sustainability, the issue of cost, reliability, security are important factors. Cost, security, reliability, and of course, the energy must come from a source again, which renews itself. In other words, it's there. It's not in any way. We're not in any way destroying the environment. It's important, before I go directly to your question, it's important also that we mention the reason why we are focusing on electricity is because perhaps it is the single biggest energy sector.
And I said that
but also energy goes a bit wider than that in terms of transportation.
And we'll get on to that.
Yeah. But in terms of what is available, as a company and also regionally, we have been looking at what can we do as a region? What are the technologies that are available for us really to bring the issues of cost, reliability to the forefront?
And let me hold you there, Thornley, because I'm going to go to the second break. But when we come back, we'll pick that up as soon as we come back. This is Unrendered, and you are looking at a program that deals with sustainable and efficient use of energy.